Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Lainey and this is Big Girls Really Do Cry, and I am doing part 3 of my Q&A. This got a bit extended, didn't it? So I was in the middle of doing May's questions, so I will get back to them. Okay, so I've done the one about school. Alright, and our next question is, how did you get started on YouTube and make such good friends on eBay? Well, I've kind of explained the start on YouTube already in the part 1, which was just basically I wanted to do it as like a way of challenging myself. I can't speak. Oh my god, 50 I did I had a blog first, and my blog's still there, which is on WordPress if anyone wants to read it. Big Girls Really Do Cry on WordPress it is. And so I started on there, and I did like a 50 things before I'm 50, and I wanted to kind of challenge myself and do a YouTube video, and I only ever thought I would do one. And yeah, I got encouragement from a lot of the other YouTubers, and so I just thought, right, I'm just going to do it, and I did, and I enjoyed it, and here we are. And I haven't really made friends with anyone on eBay because I don't know them through eBay. The reason I know everyone, like you know, Nick, Andrea, Carla, Lex, etc., is because of YouTube. So I got to know them in the side chat, and then got to know them on a personal level. Although I have yet to meet them, and I'm sure it'll just be like, you know, it'll be really cool to do so. But that's how I made friends with them. So yeah, be cool. Your next question is, have you ever travelled around England? If so, what area appealed to you at that time? I've never really travelled around England much, but the Lake District, I loved the Lake District when I was a kid, so I'd really like to go back there. And I'd love to go and see Scotland and Devon. My mum always wanted to go to Devon and Cornwall and stuff, and she never did, so that would be like really cool. But obviously restrictions with RoboBitch and stuff, but you never know what the future might hold. Okay, that's the end of May's question, so thank you, May. The next question is from Seaglass Kaz, and she said, tell us about your gorgeous Jasper. Was he a rescue? We have 2 rescued greyhounds, beautiful dogs inside and out. Would love to know more about him. Take care, chick. And also Debbie Morris on Instagram asked, how long have you had Jasper? So I could answer these together. Oh, my Jasper, bless him. So we've had Jasper since he was 12 weeks, although I was told he was 10 weeks. I was also told he was a cross Bedlington Terrier and Whippet, because we'd looked for a smaller dog. And the reason I ended up with him, he wasn't a rescue, but I feel like we kind of rescued him and he kind of rescued us, essentially. He wasn't a rescue as such. He was shared on Facebook because my friend had shared it, and it was a Gumtree thing, and she hates like dogs advertised on Gumtree and Facebook and stuff like that, and so she shared it. And I'm going to put the picture here of the picture that I first saw him, and he was the only pup left, and there was 12 of them originally, and he was the last one of the litter. And it said, obviously in the photograph he wasn't 12 weeks here. It said he was the last one, and he was obviously a boy. And I seen this picture and I couldn't get him out my head. I just couldn't get him out my head, and I showed it to my daughter. Now, we'd been talking, we'd had a dog prior, 6 years prior to getting Jasper, and we hadn't had a dog for 6 years, and I spoke to my daughter about it and my son, and we were talking, and then yeah, I just says, well, if I ring, it can't hurt, you know what I mean? He's probably gone, but if I ring, do you know what I mean? So I rings up and they still had him. Anyway, to cut a long story short, he brought him to my house, right? And he brought him to my house, and he wasn't like normal puppy to me. Like, he hadn't been socially interacted, and the guy did things I don't agree with in terms of he used his dogs for hunting. I'm forgetting the exact name of it, because it's just gone out my head. And he explained to me that had I not rang, he was going to keep him because his dad had just, the dog's dad that was, had just died because he'd ran into a wall at the end of a hole in the ground because it was ratting or whatever he was making him do. I don't know. I know it's a natural thing, but a natural thing, Jasper does not have it naturally. Like, he prefers to be chased, put it that way. Like, he will pick something up if it's there, but if he has to chase it and he makes an effort, then that doesn't happen. So it's not natural to him, essentially. Like, he might chase it for 2 seconds, but he's bored. He wants things to chase him, as I said. Anyway, going back to the original story, I couldn't let him go back. Just, you know, he was born on the 10th of September. The only reason I know this, because he said to me that the dog was 12 weeks, but when I worked it out, he was 10. He said to me the dog was 10 weeks. When I worked it out, he was 12 weeks. And he had a photograph. He had pictures on his phone of the day they were born, of the litter. And so I could date that he was born on the 10th of September. And I asked him questions. He wasn't like, didn't use puppy pad because he was like puppy pads or anything like that. He was kept in a shed. He was the only one left back in the shed. He was weird, like he didn't know what the carpet was. He was kind of like lifting his paws up off the floor because it was weird texture, I guess. And I just couldn't, there was no way I could sort of let him go back, because I just thought he's going to have a fate like his dad did. And yeah, so I bought him, and yeah, that was that. And then as time, I mean, I'll continue to put some pictures here. He did have food aggression, being so young, so we managed to get that out of him, which was weird, but I guess just probably chucked their food in with them, you know, in the shed kind of thing. I think it was kind of like, what's that sort of, you know, where they have dogs to breed them and they're not very good, like a puppy farm type thing. I think that's where he came from, to be honest. Yeah, he kept growing. That was the other thing. And he was kind of an odd shape. Like, he looked a little sausage doggish. When I'll put a photo again over here. He looked a little sausage doggish when he was younger. And he's got loads more cuddling. He's got older, but like at the time, like, he wasn't used to attention from people. He never had that. He'd never lived in a house. And I mean, he was really good. We managed to fully train him toilet wise. By the time he was 5 months, he was fully trained that way, so that was good. So that didn't take very long, considering, you know, probably about 2 months, and it was all Laura's hard work, you know, keeping up with making sure he went outside and all that. He just kept growing, and he didn't look like a Bedlington Terrier or a Whippet. So eventually, when he was older, we got his DNA done, and he, as we concluded, we'd looked at him and thought he looked a lot Saluki, like a Saluki, and yeah, that's what we thought. So we got his DNA tested. That came back, which was like, he was mostly Saluki. He had a little bit of greyhound, a little bit of bearded collie, a little bit of Irish wolfhound, and a little bit of poodle for good measure. But yeah, there was bits of all sorts in him, but in the most part Saluki, and you can tell because his ears and his face is very Saluki looking, I think. Also very, I suppose there's a greyhound look to him as well. But yeah, he we always laugh because we say that the poodle bit, he has this thing about cardboard and he likes to rip stuff up, which, you know, what dog doesn't. But if you give him a piece of cardboard, he like trots away with it like so fancy, and he looks like that's what we say is the poodle. Just that bit is the poodle in him. But yeah, I totally agree with Kaz in the sense of the breed of dog. So sighthounds, Salukis, greyhounds, crossbreed lurchers. He's classed as a lurcher because he's crossbreed Saluki, crossbreed sighthound, sorry. But yeah, all those type of dogs that people probably think, oh my god, they're going to be like a nightmare to look after. They're going to need to run for miles and miles and miles, and we'll have to take them all over. But that is not the case whatsoever. They are complete couch potatoes. They do like a little bit of a mad zoomies, so 30 minutes, zoom around, that's it. That's all they need, really. And they're like a complete couch potato. They love to cuddle. They're so loving and sweet natured, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, I would advise anyone to get a breed like him or similar, because they are really overlooked, and it's really sad because the if I was physically able, I would have more, and I would have a whole, like, you know, farm of them if I could, if I was physically able. But yeah, he's lovely, and we're very lucky. So thank you for your question to Kaz and to Debbie. Thank you. Moving on to Linda. So Linda says, did your immobility come on gradually or suddenly? So my mobility had deteriorated probably quite a bit. Due to my size, I was struggling to walk very far without the sort of burning pains you get in your legs and your lower back, and I'd have to stop all the time. So, and then obviously for the 4 years, so 5 years ago pretty much, is it 5 years ago? Yeah, for about, so I started, was it so 5 years ago I went to hospital. For the previous 4 years from that, I didn't leave the house, through my choice, through the fact that I didn't want to be looked at, through the fact that I was scared and whatever. So obviously that limited my mobility a lot more. As time went on and I kept getting bigger and bigger, I did spend a lot of time in my room, but I would go into the sitting room a couple of times a day and obviously go to the toilet and things like that. But I used to have to use the walls to sort of keep me up, and it absolutely knackered me out just to walk down the passageway. Just before I fell ill and went into hospital, so I had I filled with fluid up to my hips, and it made my legs and everything completely solid, so I couldn't like, literally couldn't move, and I couldn't get out of bed anymore. And I was managing to, I think, about, so I went into hospital, and about a week before I was managing just about to stand up, but then my legs got progressively worse. It moved into my hips, and then my district nursing sister had basically said, you like need to go into hospital, and if it wasn't for her persistence I wouldn't have gone in. I did go into hospital. When I was in hospital, I didn't get out of bed for 3 months, and in that time, because I had really bad arthritis, I had to learn to walk again, and I did. I'm not going to go into the whole ins and outs because it's quite long-winded and stuff, but I did. I managed to get back on my feet. I managed to start doing steps again. I used to have to use a frame. The pain was horrendous in my knees, like, I have to say, if I caught it going one way, my God. But I kept pushing through and kept trying, and I kept pushing further and further forward, and by the time I left hospital in the July, I could walk about 30 steps with the frame. And then I came home, and I was getting up every day, like doing a little bit of walking, and I walked through into my sitting room, and then I was able to sit on my chair and stuff, and then that was the furthest I'd ever done, walking through there and back type of thing. And it was kind of the start of the downfall. I used to have, you know, as I was building up, there'd be days when my knees were so bad and I couldn't just walk. I'd have to like wait till fluid had gone down and just like sort of rest them for a day. So that would happen on the odd day where I'd have to rest them a day and stuff. But then when I got home and when I'd done that walk through to the sitting room and back, the next day, I was in agony in that, and I pushed through. I was able to like transfer from the bed, so I was able to get up, walk a few steps forward, turn, and then sit back down on a chair type of thing, and that was like transferring and whatever. Anyway, my knees basically locked into place, so I had no cartilage between my knee joint, none at all, and my knee bones grinded together, and probably due to the fact that I walked so far and kept pushing myself, my knee bones grinded together to the point that they stuck. They literally just stuck together, and I had to wait till they sort of unlocked themselves, which took 7 months. Yeah, so I was stuck in bed for 7 months. Eventually it started to unlock, so I started to work on getting up again, building my strength up. I got a stand aid to help me, was pulling myself up on the stand aid. No, that wasn't right. So yeah, eventually it unlocked again, and then I was doing it again and pulling myself up on the walking frame with the help of like them keeping hold of it and stuff. Managed to get back on my feet again, managed to get back to doing a few steps, and then the opposite leg locked. So I think it was my right leg that locked first, and then the opposite leg locked, and then that locked for 6 months, I think it was, maybe something like that. By which time, obviously, the less things are used, the more they deteriorate, I guess. And then she brought in the stand aid, and I tried to use that, and I was pulling myself up with it and everything, and yeah, it was hard, and I realised I just did not have any strength in my knees, and all of the only thing that was keeping me up was my upper body, and then I was proper shaking the whole time, and then I was in pain again, and then they locked again, and it was just like, I was devastated, I have to say, because I think when I was in the hospital I thought like things were getting better, you know what I mean, and life would be better, and I'd be out and about and whatnot, but wasn't meant to be. And there'd been talk about getting a hoist before so that I could escape this room, because at this point, after coming out of hospital, I'd been stuck in my room for 2 years, and mentally, obviously, it was affecting me. And the only times I had been out of the house in those 2 years was to hospital appointments, which were sometimes I didn't even get to. In fact, most of the time I didn't even get to because of ambulance issues, but that's a different story. Anyway, my physio suggested getting the hoist in temporarily, just so like I could keep building, and then as soon as it was better, I would try again. But they're just not getting better. They need to be replaced, basically, my knees. And I have seen someone about that, and he wants us to lose my weight, obviously. But because my legs are bored now, my legs have been bored for a long time, since the lipedema and the lymphedema, because I had the big, what I used to call me elephant balls, at the bottoms of my, kind of around where my knees are. And so my legs are permanently bored, so anytime I sit too long in the wheelchair, because my hips are not used to being turned in, I can ache a lot. But you know, anyway, I've forgotten totally what the question was. You know, that's really bad, isn't it? Always about me mobility being gradually or suddenly. I suppose it was kind of suddenly, really, at the time, in the sense that one week I was walking, even though I wasn't doing loads of walking, I was able to walk, and then for 3 months I wasn't able, and then I had to relearn to walk again, which is really weird. Honest, the pain in you don't realise how much your big toes balances you, for one, because the pain in your big toe is mental. Also, like the rush of blood to your legs when you haven't had that, you feel all shaky and weird. My feet, normally if you sit and your feet, so your feet are like, so if you're sitting straight, your feet are like at a angle, like a right angle to you. I'm trying to watch what I'm doing and look at this, but your feet are kind of at this right angle to you. So if you're lying on the sofa, your feet are like that, aren't they? But because I wasn't walking, I've got no muscle tone in my foot, so my feet are just permanently, have kind of like fell back. So they don't sit. I mean, I can pull them up, don't get me wrong, but they don't stay there like most people's would. I don't know why I explained that. No wonder these videos are so bloody long, because I just done the bloody hell up. I apologise, people, I really am. This wasn't meant to be like 600 questions, was it? But anyway, I think I've kind of answered your question, Linda. Sorry for waffling. Okay, so next question is from Paula J. She says, how did you connect with resellers? Have you been a reseller? And I did kind of cover this a bit in the first one, in that, yes, I have done a little bit of reselling, but prior to reselling, I've always loved, and my mum used to do the same. We used to love going to the charity shops and the jumble sales and the car boots and the auctions and whatever else that was on, Summer Fates, you name it, we did them all. And we always loved them, and I always came back with stuff for 20 pence as a kid, and just loved how you could do that. And so I hate paying for things full price. If I can get away with it, I prefer to get things like second hand or on sale. Of course, love a sale. But yeah, I did a little bit of it, like me and my sister, when the kids were young, very young. We decided, so this was back in 98, I think. So yeah, Laura was born in 96, David was born in 93, so yeah. So in 1998 we had a clear out of our own houses, you know, of like bedding sets, stuff for the kids, blah 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 blah. And then obviously, because we'd always done the jumble sales and the car boots and the charity shops especially, we started noticing things in the charity shops that we know would sell on eBay. And so yeah, we did it for a little bit, and then we bought this whole, like, we bought this load of personalised stuff that was all personalised, that had names on. I'm forgetting the name of the brand, but everything had names on, but you guarantee everybody wanted to know if we had the name of someone that we didn't have, but that was standard. We did that for a little bit, but my we were both single at the time. My sister ended up with like my sister found a partner and sort of things. We didn't continue doing it, and I tried a little bit, and I tried again when Laura was 18, so about 8 years ago. But most of the stuff would have meant she'd have to do it, because by this time my mental health was so bad that, you know, I wasn't leaving the house hardly and whatever, and I couldn't stand long enough to really do photographs, and so a lot of the pressure went onto her for like posting stuff, so I would, and things like that, and she hated it. She hated the stuff. She hated, I think she just hated the whole thing of it, so I can't blame her. But I still do love it. I still do love it, and that's how I started watching the resellers, which is because I was get like, you know, this is it sort of gave me my fix a little bit, you know what I mean? And I still do love going to charity shops, and I still do go around the ones that I can get in, and I still buy things for myself, which is cool. I recently got quite a few plus size tops, which was good, which is rarely seen in charity shops, but I was really chuffed with that. I'd love to go to a car boot sale again, but the distance is quite far, so not sure that'll ever happen. But yeah, I was kind of a reseller. I don't really class it as such, not really, because it wasn't for very long, and I did have 2 attempts at it, and like I said, wasn't for very long, and yeah, I just couldn't deal with it mentally, because it meant leaving the house, and I wasn't doing that really, and I wasn't physically able probably to do the work required, I guess, because it is bloody hard work, and you know, as every reseller knows, it's the hunt at the love. But I mean, I still do love, I mean, like I said, I used to buy loads of things for my kids and stuff, you know, charity shopping, or going around the sickies with my mum and my sister and stuff, and I was always buying stuff. But back then, you know, like there was the little shops that were rammed full of stuff, and I used to get loads and loads of things for the kids, and I just love it, and I still love it. And you never know what you might find, and that's always cool. So yes, I hope that answers your question, Paula, and thank you for the question. And my next question is from Susan Davey, and she says, hi Lainey, have you always lived in the same place, and if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be and why? And what is your favourite chocolate bar? So yes, I've always lived in Sunderland. I did once live on the outskirts in Hortonley Spring, which is kind of classed as Sunderland, but it does have a Durham postcode. I didn't like it there, to be honest, and obviously back in Sunderland itself. I don't think I'd live anywhere else. I think I've said that already earlier in one of the other videos. But no, I like it here. I would like to move from where I am, and then this house, I would like to be nearer the beach, even though I'm not that far from it. But then, in a sense, this house is actually more ideal, really, because it's in between the town and the beach, essentially. So I guess maybe I am in the ideal place. What else did you say again? Favourite chocolate bar? Oh, so many. There is so many. Caramacs are up there for sure. I like Reese's. So I like peanut butter. I like cream eggs. I like Dime bars. The list could go on, but I'd say they would be my go-tos. If I was having chocolate, they would be my top go-tos. So there you go. I hope that answers your question. Thank you very much for the question, Susan. And my last question, which was from Lex, which I will not explain the question, but I will just send Lex a diagram. We'll just go with that. But thank you very much, Lex, and to everyone who has sent me questions. I finally got to the end. Woo! It only took 3 videos. My God. But yeah, thank you to everyone for sending us questions. As I said, thank you to everybody for watching. If you're not subscribed, please do subscribe. And if you know anyone, self-promotion here, look, if you know anyone who would be interested in watching my content, then please let them know. And yeah, I will put, it's over there, Leonie, it's over there. I'll put a video up here of something else I've recorded that you may be interested in watching, and if you are, please do watch that. Other than that, I shall catch you later. Thank you, and bye bye. Bye bye.